All right, welcome to the first episode of the Empowerment Perspective radio show / podcast. I go by the name of Deviso Josie, and by means of introduction, I'm going to introduce the world to the team that's on the Empowerment Perspective radio show. First, this young lady started out the podcast with me a long time ago. I think it's been about a year now. I think we hit our anniversary maybe a month ago. She's a master vlogger / blogger with Flowers Grow Up. Went to school with this young lady, decided to take this journey with me. Miss Stacy Sanderson Dick, how are you?
I'm doing well.
This is the first time on the radio?
Yes. I've never called in, never.
Nothing?
No.
You're handling it like a professional, though. I appreciate it.
We'll see.
So we started this journey about a year ago. Just to walk people through how we got to this particular place. Like, how did we connect and why did we end up here?
It started on social media, just a post that we were both putting up there and that we connected over a couple of things that we were kind of going in the same direction. Mm-hmm. And you reached out to me and asked me if I wanted to jump on board with something with you. And for the first time in my life, I didn't think too hard about it or overthink it and talk myself out of it. Here we are.
Wonderful. So those of you who follow us on the podcast, you remember Stacy, welcome her back to the show. And now she's taking a big leap and big step for her. We're on the radio and hitting up a large area of South Jersey and also across half the country on our podcast. Our other co-host on the show, he is a guidance counselor by day. He is Mr. Petty by night. Well, he's really Mr. Petty all the time. It's my partner in crime, Kareem Spence. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing well, sir. I'm doing well. It's good to be on the radio.
Good to be here, man. It's been a journey for us. We've been all over the country and heading some more places. We'll get to that later. Yeah, we're getting there, man. We're working on it, man. We're working on it. So just tell people what we are about with the Empowerment Perspective Group and what we are doing here with our show.
Real simple is that our platform really is to highlight those in the community that are doing wonderful things. So often, we get so much negativity in our daily life that we want to be able to balance it out with some good stuff. So as we continue to do the radio, do the podcast, and do our professional development, what we want to do is just put a different twist on things and be able to help people be able to first understand, and the second, to be empowered and inspire other people.
Sounds like a good platform for us, and like Kareem said, we just out here trying to do good things and really celebrate educators, and educators come in all shape, forms, and fashions for us. So it's not just your standard teachers, even though we all are educators for the most part on the show, except, well, Stacey, you're an educator too, man.
I substitute.
You substitute. Now listen, substituting is a hard job.
I don't hold a candle to teachers. I try to keep it going and keep the flow going, but teachers do a tremendous job in their classroom, and what they do with these kids is unbelievable.
As long as the kids aren't really, knocking themselves out and all that, I think that the substitute has done a great job if that happens.
Yes.
But it's definitely a good stepping stone. If you're interested in education, I do recommend that you go ahead and become a substitute before you step into the classroom, before you know what you've got to get yourself into, because it's a difficult profession, let's just say that, every single day. And we'll get more to that within our podcast, in these episodes. So we're on the air for 13 episodes. We'll be bi-weekly, so our next show will be on June 30th. Yes. But one of the things we like to do on our podcast is a segment called Take It Personal. And I just need you guys to answer this question, whether I'm taking this too personal or not, right? So I am an administrator by day, and I just went on a field trip with my students. I was also a coach as well, and I run across these situations all the time. Now, I tell the parents, supposed to pick up kids at 6 o'clock. We were running a little late for this trip the other day.
Yes. Came
Came back about 6:45. All the parents were gone. Of course, I had one student still sitting there.
Always one.
7:15, still waiting for this parent. I was coaching. Called the parent up. The parent was like, I'm shopping. I'll be there in a minute. Mind you, this is an hour later than what they're supposed to be coming to pick them up. Should I be taking this personal?
You should take it personal.
Yeah.
I think we're on the same page, simply because as when I was coaching, the same thing happened. For whatever reason, they think that I'm just a free babysitter and I'm just supposed to be there until you decide to come pick up your kid.
I had a situation like that. I was coaching my daughter's soccer team, and the lady dropped her kid. Now, these kids are like 6, 7 years old, and they're girls.
Yes.
Dropped the kid off and left. I had to call and text all the parents, like, listen, I am not a baby service. You had to stay with your practice was only 45 minutes. Like, seriously, you couldn't stay for 45 minutes.
Yes.
And then you was late coming back on top of it.
Yes,
It's
absolutely.
ridiculous.
I can't understand why things like that continue to happen. I think this happens to me, because you know I'm petty.
Yes,
So
you will.
anytime something happens, I'm thinking that it's just happening to me. And nobody else has these kind of problems, just me.
You had some interesting situations. We were on a trip yesterday. We had some interesting situations occur. We went to amusement park. I'm a big rider. I ride all the big rides and stuff like that. But you work, which is okay. I have another theory about that. You can't be petty and to be scared to ride rides at the same time. It don't make sense to me.
Okay.
But we'll get to that in a second. But you had an experience at your table.
I was supposed to hold down the table. That was my only job. I had one job to hold down the table. And I know that I can be quite rude at times when, people come and sit down at the table without permission. But this particular day, yesterday, there was a mother and her daughter came and just sat down at the table. And I couldn't be disrespectful because it was a mother and her daughter. So I just had to suck it up. That's all I had to do.
They asked you to pass the salt. Were you part of that?
No, it was like, you want some fries? I don't want.
They offered you stuff.
Yeah, they didn't ask me permission to sit at the table.
Yeah,
But I couldn't say anything. It was bothering me because I couldn't say. I wanted to say something, and it just bothered me. So I had to wait because I can't, pick on mother and her daughter.
You could. You're just petty. You get away with that.
No, but I would really look bad.
Yeah.
So when people ask me why you get kicked out, they be like, well, because this is what happened. Like, yo, that's just petty. So that was just that's going outside the bounds for pettiness. Got
you. Stacey, you drop your kids off. Have you been late? I know you've been late before, but how have you responded to the coach or the teacher that was with your child?
I don't like to be late. Like, they're my kids. I need to be there on time to pick them up. And I respect other people's time. So I don't feel like I should be running behind to get my kids. I stay. I can stay for 45 minutes.
So how do you feel about those parents that do leave their kids there?
Some situations they need to, or their kid wouldn't be able to.
I have a question. So you say to yourself that, okay, I'm going to be there for mine. But you don't never stay with a coach. You take yours and then you just leave. You don't actually hang around and talk to us. No.
You don't want me to coach.
No, I don't want you to coach. I just want you to hang out so you can actually feel what I'm feeling. You just sit
That's
there.
why I don't coach.
No, I'm saying as a parent, you just sit there and you wait till the last child's picked up like me.
I know.
I see, that's petty.
That is petty. That was very petty.
So I'm Mrs. Petty now?
Yes,
You
can be. Petty too. So in a few minutes, we're going to ask in a few seconds, we're going to go to a commercial break. We'll be back in a few minutes. We have some special guests in the building today. We have Miss Darlene DeHaan, who's on her way. We're going to welcome her to the Cumberland County area. And we also have some gentlemen here that are doing some wonderful things in the city of Vineland. We're going to get to them as well. And then we got some more things in store at the end, obviously, of the podcast. I keep saying podcast, radio show. So we'll be back in a few minutes. We got to pay these bills. Stay tuned.
Okay, we are back. Thank you everyone for listening in. So again, this is the Empowerment Inspector Radio Show, and we have two special guests. And actually, I just found these guys in the parking lot. I went to go pick up some chicken, and I seen they were actually giving stuff away. So I said to myself, you know what? It's a possibility that these guys may be doing something really good in the community, and let's go see. Let's go actually see if they're willing just to, on the spot, just come and share their mission and their purpose and what they're doing. So we walk over, and first guy, we eye to eye, and he introduced himself. So again, let's welcome Pastor Robinson and his guy, Buster Gale, to the show.
Hello, how you doing?
Yeah, doing. God bless.
Yes. So again, as I said, I seen you guys in the parking lot, and what were you guys doing?
Yeah, so we are a ministry beyond the four walls, as we like to call it. Our mandate is loving people back to life. We've been in ministry for 5 years in Vineland, and every third Saturday of the summer months, we go out into the community, and we would love just to more or less hand out clothes and food. We offer prayer. And we just want to be a staple in the community to let people know that one of the first questions we get when people see us out there is, how much does this stuff cost? I love it because it's a great segue for me to say, Jesus paid it all.
Okay.
It's all paid at the cross. So.
Okay. Now you guys didn't know me from nowhere, so why did you guys follow me to studio?
Well, number one, I loved your car.
Okay.
I'm a being a person as well. You look friendly, and you had a bag of chicken. So
It's that car, man. The car. That is awesome. Well, listen, one of the things we like to talk about on our show is discovering people's why. And we feel like in order for you to do great things in life, that you have to have a deep why and to push you through those dark moments in your life. And Why did you decide, and what was your why in terms of this mission that you're on? What is your why?
Yeah, awesome question. So, Romans 12th chapter lets us know that this is our reasonable service. I don't look at this as an opportunity. I look at this as a reasonable service that we should be giving back. So many churches in the community, and, we all have our different purposes. And I realize that I do not want to be a church that sits inside of the four walls. But we need to be a church and mission, and action, where people can see us and showing the love of Christ. Because, when we say we love somebody, that's an action. They need to actually see that. So once again, there's a lot of hurting people out here in the community. These clothes mean so much to some people. Stuff that we just disregard, but it means so much to someone who don't have. A bottle of water, a sandwich, just the word of encouragement. So that's our why. Our why is to give back because it is our reasonable service.
Got you. Brother Buster, why did you decide to join this mission?
Well, I follow my pastor, and he taught us iron sharpens iron. So we have to be together. If I'm blessed, why not give a blessing back to somebody else? Because, like you said, there's a lot of people out there that don't know God. And I'm learning to knowing God every day myself. And by following him, he's teaching me more, so I have to give more back.
Right, that's one of the major messages that we come across with the Empowered Perspective Group is that still sharp and still idea. We talk about it all the time that, we don't put ourselves around people that are going to take away from our goal. We put ourselves around people that are better than us, smarter than us, want to work harder than us, and then we try to beat them. That's just our mission. And then you find yourself, that's how you grow. You put yourself around those people, and then at some point, though, you're going to have to find another group of people and find some more steels and sharpen with those as well. So that's been our mission, and it doesn't surprise me that this happened. You know what I mean? So, obviously, Kareem recognized the good that you guys are doing, and then, hopefully, maybe in the future, we'll work on some collaboration and do some things to help you guys down there in Violent as well.
Exactly.
Yeah, if you don't mind, I'd like to just give the church address. We are located at 302 Southwest Boulevard in the heart of Violent, New Jersey. Our Sunday morning service is at 9 a.m. Tuesday is our Bible empowerment study at 7 p.m. and Thursday night our evangelistic service. So if you're in the area of Violent, Millville, or Bushton, please come out. You're welcome. We welcome all. We're a non-denominational church. That means we take the title off. We just show love. It's about Jesus Christ.
Okay. So, being as though that we're new to the area, like, what is it that we can actually bring to help you guys? Again, because we want to be able to inspire everyone. So what can we bring to the community of Violent? Millville, I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, we worked, I think they're all, connected together. One of the things is community. The community is hurting. There's a big need for people just to be connected to shelter. There's a lot of homeless in this area.
Okay.
So it's big homeless. There's a lot of people without food. And crime rate is high the way it is because they don't have jobs. So maybe some job services and programs to get people revitalized and things of that nature. So there's a lot of work out here. One of the scriptures say the harvest is plentiful, but the laborers are few. So your helping hand is what's needed. People, you can say you care all you want, but when they see you out in action, that's how much they know that you really care. So yeah, just showing up and being there. Today handing out a sandwich and the smile that someone's that got on someone's face today was like, wow, you gave this to me, because we love you.
Gotcha.
And just giving someone a hug and they feeling like, oh, I'm not worthy to get a hug. Yeah, you do. So just caring, being there. It don't take a whole lot.
Right. This is what we're going to do. This is what we're going to commit to. We're going to commit to creating a workshop seminar for anyone that's interested, resume building, interview techniques, and all that stuff. So we'll connect with you with the dates, so we'll come down and we'll definitely promote that, and let's get some people some jobs out there. That's what we're going to bring to your following. So definitely appreciate you guys being on. Before you leave, make sure we get contact information and all that so we can make that happen. So thank you guys for joining us today. Make sure you get some shit.
Thank you guys for this airtime. I appreciate that. God bless.
All right, keep going. Wonderful things. This is a really good thing you guys are doing. And we look forward, like Demiso said, to be able to network with you guys and do some things.
Thank you.
This next guest that we got going on, very close friend of mine. She was a forensic scientist in a former life, assistant principal and a former life teacher, mother, track coach. I don't know, you got a lot of hats that she wears. She now has a new job in Bridgeton, so we definitely want to welcome her to the area. Miss Darlene Dahan, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, Demiso.
Haven't seen you in a while.
I know, I miss you.
Now I miss our 2 o'clock cut up time.
And I'm looking because you're smiling.
Yeah, I know, my chip
What happened to chip 2? Yeah, chip 2 smile. You got it fixed? We needed that for professional development. Got a story behind it.
Yeah, I got that fixed right away.
No, you messed everything up. I had a vision that you had like razor blades under your mouth that you took to work just in case somebody would say something slick to you. I had all that in my mind, and that was going to be the professional development that we were going to do.
Yeah, no, I can't start a new job with a chipped tooth.
So what is it that you do at Bridgeton?
Well, what I'm doing now is I'm the director of curriculum and instruction for math and science, which is awesome, because usually director of curriculum and instruction, you encompass all the content areas, but Bridgeton does something that the others, I don't think any other district that I know of has done, and they split it. So there's a director of curriculum for ELA and a director of curriculum for math and science. So when I saw that, I hopped on it, and it's absolutely awesome.
Well, we're gonna get to some stories in a minute. So, because I got to know you over the years, and I'm gonna dig a little bit deep, not too deep. I'm not gonna embarrass you yet. I'm gonna dig a little bit though. Tell us about your journey into education. Why did you decide to get into education?
Well, at first, when I started, the reason I actually came into education was because when I was an undergrad, I was strongly discouraged to pursue my education in math and science. And so I was a chemistry major, biochem major, and a math major, and I had a little struggles there. So I was strongly discouraged, not to be in that field. And they were like, oh, why don't you try something simpler? Why don't you try something easier? But I think the greatest impact I had was that I was the only African American woman in that field. So I was like, really, I just couldn't believe it. So I told myself when I came out and when I graduated, I wanted to do something back. So my educational journey actually started when I opened my nonprofit, which is Med About Science Incorporated. And then from there, I just decided, okay, I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. So now I'm going to go back to school. So then I earned a double master's in education, and now, as you know, along with you, Denise, working on my doctorate. So I just wanted to really be able to give back. I want to see more minorities and females, especially low income, because I was low income growing up. Just being able to do a lot more in math and science and STEM, because we're not represented.
No.
Blacks are not represented at all.
Absolutely, and I know we've done some presentations on STEM and trying to get that message out there. Just came back from Chicago not too long ago, STEMCon, out there trying to push that agenda. Tell us about what you're seeing just in terms of sticking with that topic. Like, how can we get minorities and women into STEM-related fields? Like, how can we get them more interested into that?
Well, what really has to happen overall is we have to change exactly what's happening through K-6, because a lot of times we are right now addressing what's happening in high school.
Okay.
But a lot of times in high school, they're already turned off. And I'm not saying give up. By no means give up because they're in high school. But we got to start this mindset from kindergarten. There's this theory out there. It's called the STEM pipeline. You ever heard of that? So the STEM pipeline is saying there are certain courses and the exposures that kids have to have starting from kindergarten. But a lot of the kids in inner city, like Bridgeton, Millville, Vineland, Pleasantville, Atlantic City, any other area, outside of South Jersey, whether it's low income, they can't afford those summer camps, those expensive summer camps, $800, $900 for 4 weeks or 3 weeks or anything like that. So they're not getting that exposure. So what happens is they start dropping out. They don't have the interest, they're not taking the classes, so you get what's called holes in the pipeline, hence the word leaky pipeline.
Right.
So what's happening are minority kids are falling through those holes, so they're not taking the courses and they're not prepared. So we need to start providing kids in K-5, starting as early as kindergarten, to giving them real STEM, robotics, science, hands-on, not that virtual stuff that you see. Like, they need to have their hands in it, and we have to start them early.
Right. I think you raised a great point, and I think the educators, specifically with minority students, we got to do a better job of pushing those minority students. We did a podcast with my brother, who's an electrical engineer, travels all over the world and does great things. Very intelligent guy, but he was never really pushed to his potential. I mean, luckily he still made it out there, and within that community, those students that were considered the nerds, where it was sort of, the outcasts a little bit of the community. So my brother was telling me a story about how he felt, one, he was intelligent, so they kind of separated, him because of that, and also because of the fact that he was a minority. That was another element. So that was just something that he was, dealing with. But I think even within the schools that I've worked in, minorities in the AP classes and the honors classes, there's very small representation in there, and these children are bright children, and they're just not getting pushed enough to explore that as an option. I know when I was in school, I didn't even see that as a possibility.
Right.
Like, it was sports, and I had to go to school to play sports. It wasn't even about science, STEM, and all of those things. So we got to start pushing these students in that direction. Stacy, you're a mother of 3, correct?
Yes.
All right. So what are some of the things that your kids, have they expressed any interest in any field in as far as a career later on? Specifically your daughter, I want to know. Is she interested in anything?
She's
yet?
6, so I don't think she's looking career goals yet. We survived
She's not giving you the vet, the doctor, the astronaut,
No,
typical
I'm
stuff?
going MMA with her right now.
Oh.
I'm more leaning towards a career like Ronda Rousey.
That's nice.
She got knocked out when she faced somebody. So it's gonna, I don't know.
What about your boys?
Connor wants to play in the NBA,
Mhm.
so he's outside all day, every day.
Mhm.
But my other son is definitely involved into the computer world, and he wants a YouTube channel, and he wants to do all these things. But again, I looked into the camp for him to go for 1 week. It was like $900. I'm like, I can't do it.
Right.
And I feel bad, but it's too much.
So as a parent, what are some things that you do to sort of foster those dreams in your kids?
I buy resources I can afford.
Mhm.
However, they're a little more effort on his part, so
Mhm.
he has to read a book on how to get his YouTube channel started, and he doesn't want to do that. He just wants to jump right in. But I said, well, you got to learn the right way to do it. These kids don't have 1 million viewers for just not knowing what they're doing. They know what they're doing.
Right.
Our school is very fortunate. We do have robots, and the kids are exposed at kindergarten, and they do a lot of hands-on activities. So they're very fortunate in that aspect, that they do have things that they're learning. They know more than I do. I mean, I can't even work my laptop yet. So.
Well, let me jump in for a second, because you said something that was really big. You said that your son wants to go into the NBA.
Yes.
So my question has always been is, why can't we make school exciting?
Mm.
Why can't we make it seem as though that this is a really glamorous thing to do? Right now, school is boring.
Absolutely.
It really is.
Kids are unmotivated. They are unmotivated. I don't know
Well,
how to motivate them.
It's a two-edged sword to me, right? So if you followed a student from the time you walked into the building to the time you left, you would fall asleep as a parent. You would go into class, and after class, you hear person talk. There's very little creativity going on that's going to engage them in that. So you got that part of it. The other part of it is some of the things that me and Kareem have been trying to instill in our kids, are developing a why in them. Having a reason to go to school. We always ask the kids, like, why do you come to school? And they were like, to learn. Like, to learn what? Like, what do you want to do? And it's easy for anybody. If you don't have a why, it's so easy to quit.
Yes.
It's so easy to be like, all right, I don't need to do it, and I'm going to go this direction. The other thing that I try to instill in students is having non-negotiables. Like, there's certain things in life that you're just going to have to do, and you have to make it a part of your routine.
Absolutely.
And if you don't have that mentality, especially as a young person and a child going to school, you don't see that as a non-negotiable. It's easy for you to sleep in. It's easy for you to miss 30 days of school, and then you have to stay there and knock at your door because you get fined. It's nothing.
Well, here's the other thing. It brings a little bit more excitement, because now you get a lot more attention. The teachers want to know why you're not in school. The principal want to know why you're not in school. The guidance counselor want to know why you're not in school. So now you get placed on the platform where, so you get a lot of attention. And the kids looking at you like, man, you got to stay home. Man, it's great. What do you do all day? Now I play PlayStation. I play Xbox. I do all these things every day, all day. They talk about the season they built on 2K19. So again, when the school in itself does not seem like it's an exciting lifestyle, now what happens is you turn off a whole generation of kids. And they don't even know that the career path that they're selecting to be a professional athlete, how tough it is. Like, that's not easy.
No, not at all.
2 days, 3 days, weight room, and the commitment that it takes. But we don't make it seem like it's exciting education. You come to school, sit here for 40 minutes or 90 minutes in a block, and you just sit there and let me talk to you.
Well, I think it's important with your non-negotiables too, is we teach the kids to set them. I think a lot of times the parents set the negotiables, like, you're going to maintain this GPA, you're going to do this, and they don't get a say in it. So it's a fine line between letting them, we've talked about this a lot of times, that taking that safety net away and letting them set the bar for themselves. But our non-negotiable is you have to set the bar. Like, you can't sit home and play PlayStation all day. Like,
That was one of the things that I was going to say, that as far as educators and parents, we don't do enough of asking students and our children of what they want and how can we help them. How many times as a parent have we went up to our child and was like, well, how can I help you? That conversation really never ever really happens, you know, especially our teachers or a lot of them won't, and administrators, a lot of them won't just ask these kids like, how can we help them and inform their education, shape their education around them.
I like to use the example as if like you're going to a restaurant. So there's been many times that I went into like Chick-fil-A and nobody knew what they want on the menu. And there's a whole bunch of things on the menu that you can actually select. And nobody knows. Chick-fil-A only does one thing, they do chicken, that's it. So you either want it on bread or you don't want it on bread. So when you have a student or you have your child and they're sitting there looking at the menu and they don't know what they want, now what happens is that you're holding everyone else up. And after a while, people start getting angry.
Right.
Like, why you don't know what you want to do? Just pick something on the menu. At least if you don't like it, now we can cross it off. So even with your child, just pick something. I don't care what it is.
Absolutely. And the other key also is we got to get our kids to not necessarily worry about the end game, right? So you want to go to the NBA, that's great to have a destination, but you need to be more concerned about the process. Because there's a lot that comes along with trying to get to the NBA, you know, discipline and all the work ethic and all that stuff. Those are the tools and things that you need to be developing and get them to enjoy the process. Because that's where life lives, is within the process. I mean, and everything. And when you're getting married, right? So me and my wife got married, you know, 11 years ago, I think it was, and it was all about that day. And I didn't get a chance to enjoy the process of picking out the colors and picking out the, you know, tuxedo and all that stuff. And it kind of just went like that. And it was like, that's it. It was just a big party at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? And not enjoying the process.
Party.
It is a glorified party. We'll talk about that on another episode of my opinions on marriage. Don't do it now. Just joking.
We're supposed to bleep that out. I don't want to get no trouble.
Definitely
We're
get
going
in
to Atlanta
trouble.
on Thursday. We're get no trouble.
Now, Darla, you do a lot with English language learners, and you have some things in the works with that. Talk about what you're doing with
It
it.
said in Spanish.
She can say it in Spanish.
Yes.
What she said?
She said.
She just called you Peggy. It's Spanish.
Yeah, absolutely. And she wanted to be the chicken. That's what
Chicken in that menu. Now, what happened is, you know, in Bridgeton, it's like 75% of the district is Spanish speaking. It's huge. So one of the things that we're hoping that I'm trying to do is to try to help teachers with instruction so that they can understand, especially math and science teachers, because that's my thing. So to provide them with professional development and knowledge so that they know how to teach a class that has English language learners in it. Because there's really, when you really think about it, there's not a big difference between that English language learner and that struggling learner. It's really kind of the same. So that's one of the big projects that I'm trying to do right now in Bridgeton, as well as my dissertation for my doctorate, is to provide teachers with professional development so that they can teach the kids who are in their class. Because a lot of times now, they put these ELAs, as soon as they pass this test, and they say, oh, okay, you can pass the test. Okay, they drop you into a general education classroom with no supports, and they expect you to be successful. You know, like I can have a conversation with you in Spanish. I can read the Spanish newspaper, but don't give me that telenovela, because everyone out there knows the telenovela. It's really difficult for me to follow. So you put a kid into a classroom where English is the main language, and they can pass a test because they understand basic language, they're failing.
I'm going to ask this question on behalf of Mr. Petty, because he just whispered it. What is telenovela, whatever you just said?
That's telenovela, that's what all the novella or soap operas. So novellas. So they're soap operas. So my husband and I watch them, we watch them, as you know, my husband speaks like 4 languages. But we watch it and he gets so annoyed with me because I'm like, what they say? You know what I mean? Because I can kind of follow it by the actions, but I still miss a lot of it. So I have to watch them a lot in order for me to really start getting it. But it's the same kind of thing. Just because I can speak it, I can have a conversation with you, but you get a whole bunch of people together and then everyone's speaking really fast and then there's certain slang words I don't understand, I'm lost. And that's those kids in that classroom, you know, because the conversational Spanish is way different than academic
Right.
on English. So it's hard.
A part of me, and we had conversations about this before, it talks about the system, the educational system. And I think it's almost designed for certain people to fail, not any specific group of people, but just people in general. And I think that leads the line in terms of, we live in a capitalistic society, you gotta have a winner and loser, and you taking that model and putting it in the educational field, and it's kind of like a sink or swim model. And it's important, the bad part is you got people that are sinking, that need lifelines, but the system's saying there has to have a winner, there has to have a loser. You have to have somebody have A's, you gotta have somebody that's in honors, you gotta have somebody that's failing. We need retention, we need summer school stuff. And it's to the point even, in the States, you probably can relate to some of this, like, why did they change math, right? The way we do math. Like, I feel like it was designed to fail. Now we're in a generation right now, like, I can't even help my kids, to solve the problems, because they completely teach it.
I really think that they did that on purpose.
That's what I'm saying.
It's intentional to cause confusion within the household.
The person that did that was
Yes,
petty.
absolutely, they were really petty. Because now what happens is that you get a kid that comes home and he doesn't know what to do because he probably wasn't paying attention because he's thinking about the NBA. And now he's asking mom or dad, hey, what do I do with this? And they're looking like, I have no idea. And it's like third grade math they can't do. You're talking about parents some parents even went to college and got a doctorate degree can't do third grade math now. That makes no sense.
I'm one of them. I'm about to get my doctorate. I looked at my daughter's work the other day. I was like, why are you I knew how to solve the problem my way. I couldn't explain how to solve it the way that the teacher wanted the hair to solve. I was like, that's crazy.
But I was in the classroom one day and I'm watching them, solve problems. And they had like 4 or 5 whiteboards. This is one problem. It started on the first whiteboard and it ended on the 4th whiteboard. I'm like, this is a simple part. This is 5th grade math or 6th grade math. I'm looking like, man, it takes all of that to solve the equation. It's crazy.
All right, but I would also advise parents, don't give up though. We have the greatest tool known to man called Google. You can put it in there, you find out how to solve the problem. Yes, it's going to be difficult. Yes, you're going to get frustrated. But if your kids see you quit, they're going to quit.
Exactly.
So we can't let that happen, so we got to make sure that work ethic is instilled in them. Now, Stacy, how do you engage your kids in the educational process? Especially during those times where they're frustrated. She don't want to do her homework.
She never wants to do her homework. She does it well with other people. With me, she doesn't want to do it. It's always a battle between us, but it's mandatory. You have to do your homework.
It's a non-negotiable.
But I think I'm getting to the point with my boys that I'm still too involved in certain things. Like, my mom never read the book report, or the book that I had to do my book report on. But to help my son get through his, I have to hurry up and go through this book. I don't want to read it. I've already done school, I'm done.
Yes.
But I have to do it to help him get through it. And there's times where he's waiting until the last minute and I'm still sitting there flipping through the book. I know you're making a face like I'm doing way too much work. And I'm taking my hands off this year. You need to be that kid that walks in, because there's always a kid that doesn't have their assignment on that day, and no matter how cool they are and they don't do their work, that day stinks when you walk in and you don't have your assignment. And I said, maybe you need to experience that. Maybe you need to walk in there without your book report and see how that feels, because I'm not going to sit here and spoon feed you for the rest of your life. You've got to start taking some accountability.
And it's called productive failure.
No. I have to read the book.
Take
I
it
wish
from
I could
me.
be on my side, Kareem, for that.
I was going to be on your side until you said that when he shows up and he's no longer going to be cool. No, he's going to be the coolest because he's going to be defiant and oppositional. All the cool kids are defiant and oppositional.
So how do we motivate them? That's my biggest.
You have to motivate the cool kids to want to be able to do the work. Once you get the cool kids to do it, then you get the whole classroom. All the kids are going to follow those that get their most attention.
And as an assistant principal, I use the tactic with discipline, right? So if I find that one influential kid, be it negative or whatever, that influential kid, I know I can change at least 5 other behaviors if I can reach that one particular kid. So that's definitely a great point there. I did have a question, I just lost my train of thought. So we talk about student engagement from a parent perspective. I also think that parents need to set those examples. Part of the reason I'm going back to get my doctorate is so that my kids can see me go through it. And it's part of the routine. We all sit down at the kitchen counter, I'm working on something, they're working on something, it's a non-negotiable. And as I'm to the point I don't even have to tell them to do their homework. My youngest usually gives me a little bit, but she's me, so that's just what happens. But she hit me with this the other day. So Simone, the oldest one, got finished her homework before the end of the school year, so she didn't have homework. The little one kept bringing homework in, and I was like, JD, your teacher is mean. She shouldn't be giving you homework this time of the year. So then the last day, the homework was due, and I was like, where's your homework? She's like, I ain't do my homework. I was like, why? She's like, I got a homework pass. And then they handed in the homework pass. I was like, all right, I'll give you that one. I'll give you that one. That is too funny. So when you finish up your doctorate, who are we talking here?
December 2019.
Are we having a party?
Oh, we have a big party.
What island we going to?
I don't care, just name it, I just want to.
You want me to name it?
Yeah, you can name it.
You gonna pay for it?
No.
Oh. You do know that when you have a party, you're supposed to pay for everything. Oh, because he just mentioned wedding, and I go to plenty of weddings that I don't have to pay to get in.
You give a gift.
You gotta give a
You
gift
gotta
though.
give a gift. Monetary too.
Monetary.
Yeah, monetary gift.
Is it like a limit? What's the high low number here? We gamble in Jersey now.
So-
What's the high low? Yeah.
So what is the rule?
Gamble in Jersey
Per
now.
person, isn't that the etiquette though, the per person like rate, which I don't look at the place where I'm going to see what they charge per person, but I thought that was kind of like the ballpark.
Does it? Listen,
It just depends how well I know you. If I know you really well, I'll give a certain amount. If I, really don't know you that well, then I give a lower amount.
That's
That's normally how I do it. If I'm to my husband, he wouldn't give anything, he just go.
listen, my people do this, right? You get the invitation, they put +3 on the invitation and send it back. And then you ain't get no money on top of it. On top of it. I said, how you gonna say +2? On top of that.
Absolutely.
That is crazy. So we like to have a little bit of fun on this radio show. So Darlene, I'm gonna ask you some questions real quick. We're about to go to break soon here. But what are you listening to music-wise?
But I'm not listening to anything music-wise, to be
No?
honest. No, I'm in lit review mode.
Oh, listen. She on her computer. You see her computer? She got like 45,000 tabs open. And then I was on a computer with Darlene the other day, and I had to do something, and she's like, "Don't close my tabs. You better not close my
No,
tabs."
she did that when we was in Orlando. She opened up a laptop. She had like 35 windows open. I'm like, well, we only need one. No, we can't close them all. We need
Listen,
them all.
why don't you just copy and paste the address onto a Word document? You can always have access
No,
to
it's
it.
just easy. I see them all up there. I have them in order. They're grouped.
Got you.
Yeah, I just
Gotcha.
feel like I was panicking that day. I was like, Denise, hold you.
I was about to just like,
Just close all of
just
them.
because. I'm like, in honor of Kareem being petty.
I would have cried.
She would have killed me. She
After
would
I
have
killed
killed
you, I
me.
would have cried.
Well, listen, we got another commercial break. Stick around. You can stick around for our last segment here, and we got to introduce some more people that are coming on the show. So we'll be back in a few minutes. Stay in tune.
How are you?
That clock is messing me
This is
up.
my little sister, our doctor. This is oh what?
Hi, how are you?
Sure that you enjoy a great deal on your next car and that it remains safe and on road for many years to come. Of course, we make sure to provide legendary customer service with a smile to each driver.
Keep telling people I'm
Our
fun.
showroom. We are UA Auto Sales.
I hope my kids aren't listening.
South
This
Elsie
is
Drive
my
in
son now.
or at UAAutosales.com. Quality cars.
Yes, you don't want him to show up
What makes
not
Inspirit
having his
more
stuff done.
competitive? The
Because
latest
now he's gonna be
surgical
cool.
robotic.
Shows on that.
You don't
What
want
makes
him
it
to be cool.
inspiring? A nationally acclaimed breast center
Yeah, the
specializing
cool
in
kids always end
reconstructive
up with
surgery.
4 baby
What
moms.
makes it influential, insightful, and
We call
challenging?
that a player.
15 awards this year. State-of-the-art facilities and excellence in everything from
You beat 'em.
orthopedics to cancer care.
You
It's
have
all
to
here at one Inspirit Health
have a
Network
partnership
is in it
with
for
them.
you. Visit
And once you get them,
inspirehealthnetwork.org
you
to
get
learn
the
more.
entire
Are
class
you looking
because
for
everybody's
great
following
homemade
it.
pasta? Well,
If
look
you don't
no
get
further.
them,
Conti's Pasta has been
oh,
cooking up their family's recipes
invite him
passed
over to
down
your
through
house.
several
Have your son,
generations
yeah.
right here in Vineland. But
Invite him
Conti's
to
Pasta
your
doesn't
house
just sell
because
pasta. They
you
sell
wanna know
frozen
exactly what
pizza,
they getting themselves
pierogies,
into.
pre-cooked
And
entrees,
you keep
perfect
your eyes
for small
on.
family dinners or
we
large
got
dinner
next-
parties,
next time?
and have a full production line of gluten-free
Campbell.
options. The retail store is open Monday through Saturday, and the
That's
website
Josh.
includes
What's
free
his
shipping
Josh?
is open
Donald
24/7
Campbell.
for
He's
real
the,
Italian,
he's
homemade
an
pasta,
advocate.
and so much more. Think Conti's Pasta.
I'm sorry, you really did. Hi, I'm Gary Monteroso. I just love the sound of your.
Yeah. I'm a-
Oh, so what do you do?
I grew up enjoying Karen Norman.
Oh, you're supposed to be teaching.
What's on
Did
today?
you? I would love to hear she said.
I was just staying home with them. My kids were younger. So I didn't go back until they were in high school.
He does the artist. No, sir. What we drinking today? What we drinking today?
I had a new beer from Washington DC that my nephew just brought yesterday.
Okay, Independent
All
beer.
right, welcome back to the Empowerment Perspective Radio Show. I go by the name of Deniso Josie, alongside
Stacy Sanderson Day.
and
Spencer's here.
Mr. Petty himself.
Absolutely.
You brought a young lady with you.
Yes,
on
I have
the
my
show.
sister that's with me. So she's longtime resident of Violent. Now she's living in Delaware. I keep saying Violent. Millville, I'm sorry. She corrected me on the spot.
Wait a minute, so she got some secrets and some stories on you.
I have some secrets and stories on her. Yeah. Yeah, so introduce yourself, old wife.
Hello, I'm Olivia White.
Yes.
Grew up here in Millville.
Yes, old white. That's
Old
correct.
White.
Old white, absolutely. So, she was Del State, that's where you were?
Hell,
Okay. Yeah, so when we met, she was actually working at Dover Downs, and she was actually working the front desk. My brother was running the front desk at the time, so he's like, yo, you gotta hang out with Old White. So I started hanging out with Old White, and I said, oh, what is my little sister? I just want to adopt her.
Was the building named the Carter by any chance?
No, it wasn't the Carter. It should have been the Carter. Listen, where they lived at, that apartment complex was the Carter. Everything was going down where they lived down there in Dover.
Well, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Yes, yes.
I don't know how or why you linked up with this guy.
Fun.
He's a lot of fun.
He's a
He's
lot of fun.
fun.
Yes. So, all right, give us a story about me and you hanging out.
Oh, my.
Yeah, what do you got?
Oh, well, we've had a lot of times hanging out. AC?
Well, you don't want to tell about that, do you?
Oh, no.
All right, I'll go ahead.
Were they
All
his days trip where he's gone for like days?
No, so we had, it was actually a fight party I invited her down to for me and my guys. So afterwards we went to, Tropicana? TSOP, right? So this is crazy. So we down there, right? She's having a good time, and I step away, I walk somebody to their car, and I'm gone, maybe, it seemed to me like it was 5-10 minutes. But for some reason, she called my brother, he's down in Delaware, and she calls him, she said, listen, I can't find it, I don't know, so she went in panic mode. So he's like, yo, where you at? I said, I'm in Tropicana. And he's like, well, where's Old White? I said, she's still having fun. He's like, oh, well, she's panicking. Can you go find her? I'm like, so I find her. I'm like, yo, what's going on? She's like, I didn't know where you were. I said, my cousins are right there. You found me. And she was in panic mode.
Yeah, I'm down here by myself. I don't know these men, they're strange men.
No. She was hanging out with me, and if you with me, then you with me, and everybody's gonna take
I
care of
think
you.
she just called you a strange man.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure she just called you.
But yet, she accepted the invitation. She accepted the invitation when she came on down.
So why Del State?
Well, I grew up in Millville. When I went to Millville, it was predominantly white. And I always wanted to go to a black college. I got accepted to Del State, and there I was. But I didn't finish my undergraduate at Del State. I transferred. Got a little tired of the hood. So I had to transfer, and I graduated from Wilmington University.
And what's your degree?
Hospitality management.
Really?
I was a supervisor at the front desk at Dover Downs, working under his brother.
So let me ask you this question. How can I get an insider? You know, the guy with the white gloves come in, pour my water and all. How can the average person, how can I get an insider at a hotel?
Well, the industry we worked in was mostly gambling, so more money, the more inside you get.
Gotcha.
More money you drop, the more money you spend, the more inside you get.
More love you get.
Yep.
Let's talk discounts. So we're gonna travel pretty soon. How much would it cost me to get an upgrade when you worked at Dover Downs? Like, I want to upgrade my room. Like, how much would I have to give you to give me an upgrade? How does that work?
He ain't talking about giving a company, he said give
Right.
you.
Well, I got a lot of monetary gifts at Dover Downs when I worked there. From $500 to $1,000, $2,000 people were giving me for upgrades. So, hey, but we cool. So I'm charging you.
Yeah, I don't know. I want to pay twice the amount for the hotel room. I'm trying to get a discount. I'm thinking free. $500. I want to get in the hotel for free.
Oh, you can get a free room, but you gonna pay me?
Oh, it's not free though.
See, customer service is really, really important to me, especially when I go to these hotels. If you're not smiling when I walk up, you give me an attitude and all that stuff, I already know what the rest of my experience in the hotel is going to be. And we've been traveling a lot, and we've been to some crazy places. There was one place in Michigan threw me a curveball. When we stayed in Michigan, the guy at the front desk, he was nice. But then we walked around
the
corner.
lady?
No, not the lady, the guy at the counter where we checked in, he
Yes.
was nice. And then we walked around the corner and just went downhill from there. I don't understand. I ain't gonna blow up the chain of this hotel that
No,
we stayed
I'll
at.
blow it. I'm not gonna say it now, because they may want to advertise with us. So it was a lady, right? For some reason, we're walking around, we're trying to figure out where we can set up and do a podcast.
Mm.
She kept asking us what we were looking for. And we're like, no, we're okay, we're fine, we're just looking around. Yeah, but what are you looking for? Like, she actually lived there and that was hers. Like, why are you guys just walking around looking for locations? I'm just looking so we can find a spot to have a podcast, but
I thought she was the manager, the way she was talking to
I
us.
thought she was the owner.
I'm gonna do that. We go in Atlanta, I'm walking around, I'm like, what are you looking for? Can I help
I
you?
don't know if it's gonna work, we go to Bankhead.
Sure.
Definitely don't think that's gonna work.
True that, true that.
They can always be as friendly as the lady I met at the place when we were in Orlando.
Oh.
Which
Can you
Oh,
enlighten
I was
our
singing to you?
listeners? Can we enlighten our
Oh,
listeners?
we're having breakfast and she started singing to you? Not like this, I wish.
Oh, you talking about that one? I thought you were
Yes.
talking about.
No, I'm talking about the one at the bar that night.
Which one? Oh, the one that was stalking you, that one. Listen, Darlene has some experiences on that particular. That was funny.
Yeah, it was hilarious.
I thought you were talking
Everybody
about.
but me, that was hilarious.
Yeah, I thought you were talking about we was having breakfast and she just kept serenading you. That lady. We were there and did they mess your food up or something?
Of course, they always mess
They
my
messed his
food.
food up, but she just kept singing like it was.
So
And the lady kept singing, and I'm like, why is she singing?
too busy singing and messing my order up. I just ordered some eggs. It wasn't like it was difficult. Like you just messing up my order.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I remember now. Yeah.
Interesting. So we got a couple more minutes here. I do want to get into some summertime tips for parents and things of that nature. So I'm going to actually lean on Stacy for this. When summertime's coming, kids are out of school.
It's here for us. We're done. We're done.
True
We're
that.
finished Friday.
True that. So how do you keep your kids engaged during the summertime?
I have to go the opposite of what I do because I'm bad at procrastinating with certain things too. So the summer packets that come home, this year we're going to try to do it a little different. Give them a week off. You don't have to touch anything, don't look at anything. Just enjoy a week of rest. But then we're going to start tackling it a little bit at a time. I do agree with the summer packets. I think the kids need to stay engaged all summer with education. I think they do lose a little bit, especially when they're younger. Yeah, I do like our school got rid of, I don't know for every grade, my son's grade, they don't have to read a book this year. So I don't have to read the whole book, book reports and stuff. They're doing, it's called Newsla.
Oh, yes,
And they're
Newsla.
reading an article and they get to pick their genre and they read like 10 articles and it's all scaled to their grade level. And so I think that'll keep them more engaged and more current on some things that are going on rather than reading this old book that isn't really relevant anymore. So we're going to tackle the packet a little quicker this year instead of waiting till the last minute and then panic mode. They got to go outside. It's disconnect time. We've got to set some limits.
Parents, get your kids outside, please.
Without their phones.
Without their phones, they'll learn how to communicate, learn how to get along, settle conflicts without having any issues, and they'll get their bodies used to some germs too. A lot of these kids are sick because they're not exposed to the germs that are out there. So when they do go out there, they get sick. Go out there and play. I used to play until the street light came on.
I had to play. I had to stay out because the streetlights came on. There was no choice. 12 months a year.
You should want to stay outside.
Absolutely.
To me, it was like, you coming out, you do some chores.
You do some
So,
chores.
no, I'm going to go work on my hand, that's what I'm going to do.
Yep. I remember coming in, hands be frozen and everything else. We was outside. Unless it was raining or a major storm, we was outside playing. We had video games and stuff, Atari and all that stuff, but we still were outside. It's a huge socialization tool that you need to use. I know everyone's afraid of everybody in the neighborhood and you know, getting sued and putting people kidnapping and all that. The world is not that bad. You know what I'm saying? Stop watching the news. I know we're media now, we're officially media.
It's a media tag.
Stop watching the news so much about all these bad things and you know, send your kids outside and have them play.
And we need to go out with them. Like, we need to go out and put our phones down and engage with them and play Foursquare and go on the trampoline, which is way too much exercise for me at this point. But, you know, we need to put our phones down and, you know, put the laundry, it'll be there when we come inside. We need to engage with the
What
kids.
is Foursquare? I saw you post that on social media.
That's the game.
I never knew it until my kids went to their school and they play there.
Looked like hopscotch to me.
It's like four squares and you have one person that stays and if they don't hit the ball, then they get kicked out.
Yeah, so you can like spike it at them, and if they don't catch it, then they're out, and the next kid comes in. But we only had 4 kids playing this, and so they didn't really get technically out.
You didn't join in? You would have been the 5th.
I didn't last night.
You was taking a picture.
Yes, I did take a picture last night. I put my phone down, see?
Oh, I got you. So before we wrap this up, definitely want to thank Darlene for being on the show with us today. We got some things in the future that we're going to be collaborating on. Musical pathways, I did want to bring that up. Can you let the world know what musical pathways is and what we got going on with that? Musical pathways.
Musical pathways, what it is, it's a curriculum where we use, it's like part of the STEAM. So we use music, creating music, the writing the music, the production, the whole 9, but that's the way that we're going to engage kids in STEM so that they can see that STEM doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be in a lab code and that you have to be in the science lab. That there's STEM in music, because so there's the engineers making the music. So we want to do that in order to grab all the kids, especially that hard to reach group who might feel that they're not good in math or science, but for them to be able to get in front of that equipment and learn how to produce music and write music that hopefully we can save a life and they'll want to go further in their career.
Kareem, we're going to be down in Atlanta
Yes, sir.
next week.
So we're going down to the A.
Unfortunately, Darlene can't join us there, but we're going down to the A. What are we doing down there?
We got 2 professional development things that we're doing. We have reaching and teaching the hip hop generation. So we have some exciting things lined up for those teachers and administrators that are down there. So